Okay, so it's been recorded. I have another question. If this is completed like this, we're going to have an ascending trend up until the tip of the swing high candlestick. The swing low. Your first resistance will be here. So your first exit should be here. If it goes further than this swing low here, if it was gone over, you can't start buying for the second time, and you have to exit there. You mean 16, 10, 4, right? Yes. But you have to pay attention. Whenever a neck is opened, don't expect a decline of 300 pips or more. Expect it to decline up until the next pivot. You see, I told you that whenever you see a swing high or a reversal candlestick, you have a Fibonacci in that chart. So whenever you see this, you should immediately draw your Fibonacci. But you made a mistake and you forgot to draw your Fibonacci. So whenever in the market, in the 4-hour time frame or more, if you see a swing high or a reversal candlestick, know that you can draw Fibonacci in that chart. Is that clear? Yes. I think I'm just starting to understand. You see, in candlesticks, you have to get the signals candlestick by candlestick. You see, in here you have a descending signal, so you started selling. And I told you that this is the rule of the candlesticks. It gives you the signal. And then the pivots will tell you up until where the price is going to continue its movement. You see, you've had one pivot here and another one here, so you should have exited. And after that, you should wait until your candlestick is completed, like in here, that we're at the end of the day. And after that, you get the new signal. And after that, you have to continue it up until the pivot. Do I have access? Yes, you do. I'm not moving my pointer. Okay, so that's it for my questions. I will take away your access. Any more questions? No. Can we please move on to the gold chart? I want to locate a reversal candlestick. The Friday's candlestick and daily time frame was a reversal candlestick. On Friday? No, it was on Thursday. Yes, Thursday's candlestick was a reversal one. And it has given you a descending signal, and after that we've had a decline. Yes, that's true. But it was empty. Yes, exactly. So that is why I had doubts. Mr. Sadeghi, are you in the class? Mr. Sadeghi, can you hear me? Sometimes the webcam is open without us knowing. I will check that after the class. I think the webcam is activated because of me. Okay, so what were you asking? I was saying that the reversal candlestick was empty. That's why I had doubts that if it was going to cause a movement or not. You see, that is just one of your factors that makes it reliable. Even if it's empty here, it will be performed. But if it's not, it will just make it more reliable. So you should consider this as a reversal candlestick and put your stop loss above it. But it just gives you a confirmation. It makes it more reliable. It shouldn't necessarily be empty. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? No, thank you. Let me pause the video. Did you gain any profits in your tradings? No, I didn't. You see, I have a workshop that is going to be started from tomorrow evening, and it's on $500 deposit or more, and it's on 5 p.m. up until 8 p.m. and it's on the Zoom platform. We start trading with each other, and it's not teaching any teachings there. Try to attend that. It's a very good opportunity, and you can gain all of the profits for yourself. You see, in here, I have put a buy stop up there. Okay? So I have put a buy stop there that if the resistance here is open, it's going to go up. Are you moving your pointer now? Yes, I am. Can you see it? No, I can't. Oh, sorry. Can you see it now? Yes. Mr. Sadeghi, are you in the class? Yes, hi. Hi, Mr. Sadeghi. We can hear you, Mr. Sadeghi. We can hear you. Thank you. Okay, it's good that you're in the class now. Yes, I've had problems. You've had problems with your VPN, right? Yes, I did. I used the Lantern VPN, but it wasn't working out. But now, thankfully, I'm in the class. And now I have many less errors compared to the past. Out of every 10 trades, 7 or 8, one of them are successful. Thank God, that is great. Okay, so do you have any questions or problems? Not any questions for now. But next session, sent you the video about the reversal candlesticks. Did you watch it? No, I didn't. So please watch that video. I will teach you a new candlestick today. The reversal candlestick is over now. I'm going to talk about a new candlestick. Thank you. Okay. So the third candlestick here, if you want to know what signal it's giving you, you see the signals that the candlesticks that I'm teaching you are the best ones. Best of them is the swing high candlestick, the second best is reversal candlestick, and the third one here is a continuation candlestick. I call it the 50-50 candlestick or the continuation candlestick. These two candlesticks they look very similar, but the location is very important. You see, for example, take a look at this one. I can see it. You see, usually these candlesticks are formed after swing high or reversal candlesticks. Can you see them? So these candlesticks are completed after a swing high or a reversal candlestick, and they have a longer body compared to the shadows, and it's also possible that the shadows are very small, or sometimes they don't even have any shadows, like this one. So whenever you see this kind of candlestick that was completed in an ascending way, like here, if it's not completed inside a pivot, I mean, if we don't have any pivots on its way, That is a continuation candlestick. But if like this one, this is a continuation candlestick. So it gives you a warning that you shouldn't trade here. Hey, look at this candlestick here that is completed as a swing high candlestick, and it has given me a buy signal. So I will buy and put my take stop loss in here at this candlestick. So this is my stop loss, and then this candlestick is going to be completed, and I will close my buy account. I know that this candlestick has given me a warning because this candlestick was completed in an ascending way. But I should wait for my new candlestick to go past the tip of the shadow and the body, and after that I will start buying for the second time, and I will put my stop loss below this swing low here. I will put it right there. So I will start buying. Sorry, when this price here is opened, when the new candlestick goes past the previous one, I will start buying, and I will continue buying for this pivots, and then I will exit at this point. I will exit. And I will wait again to see what is going to be in the next candlestick. This candlestick is completed inside this pivot. You see that? These pivots. It's true that we have an ascending signal based on that, but it's completed inside the pivot. And when that happens, there's a possibility, there's a 50% of possibility that it's going to be an engulfing candlestick and we're going to have a decline. You see, we've had a decline here up until half of the candlestick there. The engulfing candlesticks usually around, there's a 50 or 80% possibility that they engulf the candlestick, the previous candlestick. You see, look at this one here. This is an ascending candle here. And it's the same as the candlestick that I just taught you about. The body is longer than the shadows and it's been ended in an ascending way, and it is completed inside a pivot. So when that happens, you should know that the new candle is going to be an engulfing candlestick. Is that clear? Can you please repeat it? Or give us another example? Okay. Let me find another example. Let me explain this on this example, and then I will look for other examples. You see, the continuation or 50-50 candlestick. You see, don't forget about the continuation. We're talking about the 50-50 candlestick. What is it? Why is it called 50-50 candlestick? Because there's a possibility that it's going to be a continuation candlestick or an engulfing candlestick. So how do we know which one it is going to be? When a candlestick that has a longer body than the shadows, or maybe it doesn't even have any shadows or very small ones, it doesn't make any difference. The body is what matters. The body is very tall in these candlesticks until it is not unless it is not completed inside a candlestick, it is a continuation candlestick. So it really matters. This part of the candlestick matters. So for example, if the candlestick is completed in this area, you should look for the pivots to see if it's completed in candles or not, in pivots or not. And then you can start buying when this body and the shadow here are opened. But if the same candlestick is completed inside a pivot, you see you have two pivots here. The next candle, the one after that, has gone up a little bit, but then it has declined again. You see that? And then it has gone up again. So memorize this. Whenever this candlestick is completed inside a pivot, it doesn't matter if it's ascending or descending. They are both the same. Whenever this candlestick is completed, like this, you see these candles, I'm talking about these candlesticks, the body is longer than the shadows. If it's not completed inside a pivot, you should know that it's going to be an ascending candlestick, but you should wait to get the confirmation. It should go further than the shadow and the body here. If that happens, you can start buying. But if this candlestick is completed inside the pivot, don't take the risk of buying because it's going to engulf that and it's going to have a decline right like this. You see, this candlestick has a longer body than the shadows and it's completed inside the pivot. Is that right? So what has happened here? It has gone further than the body and the shadow, but it has formed an engulfing candlestick. Or in here, this candlestick has been completed in a pivot. See that? The, the one that I'm just showing you. It has a pivot here. So you should have exited. This candlestick, it's completed in a pivot. So look at the next candlestick. It is engulfing the other one. So if it's completed in a pivot, you're not going to have a decline. You see, these are the errors these are the mistakes of the books. You see, this candlestick is completed inside the pivot. So the next one is an engulfing candlestick. The next one is also completed inside the pivot, so the next one is an engulfing candlestick, up until it is able to go further than the pivots. Excuse me, we have an ascending candlestick that was completed inside a pivot, but we still doubt it, and we don't make any decisions and don't trade. Isn't it better to wait for this confirmation that the price goes further than the upper shadow, and then we make a decision? No, you see, the candlesticks that are completed inside a pivot, it is possible that they go a little bit further than the body and the shadow, but then they will form an engulfing candlestick. So don't take this risk. Don't trade based on that. You're still a beginner. I could do that because I'm a professional. I'm an expert. But you're just beginners. If you see this, be careful. If you want to trade in the demo version. You see, the candlesticks is something that is more of a practical matter. You have to memorize it. And you have to practice so much that you are professional in it. So whenever you see a candlestick that has a longer body than the shadows, and it has to be a big candlestick too. The body has to be longer than the shadows, and if it's completed inside a pivot, it's an engulfing candlestick. But if it's not completed in a pivot, that is your continuation candlestick. And it's the same in all of the locations. You see, these are continuation because it was, you see, in here it was completed inside a pivot, so it is an engulfing candlestick. So generally, trading based on candlesticks means that you have to get the signals on every single candlestick. And we have at least one of these every day. For example, in here, in dollar JPY, we have a very good descending signal. Yeah, the upper shadow is longer and it's also longer than the body. So you can start selling safely. Is it USD JPY? Yes. So without being afraid, you can open your order here because you can see the signal. I told you that whenever you see a swing high or a reversal candlestick, you have a Fibonacci in that chart. So I will put my take profit here. And your first pivot is on your 23 level. We have one, two, only two pivots in this area. Excuse me. In the USD JPY chart, I think that we have a wolf technique here. What are you talking about? If we zoom out a bit, you see that we can use the wolf technique in this chart from back to front. You mean in here? You see that your pivot was here and it was broken a few days ago. You see that? It was here and then it broke. No, I'm talking about the trend line. If we draw the trend line from the bottom, and if we draw one from the top as well, you mean from here? No. Yeah, right there. Yes, from that location. It's right here, right? Yes. Yeah, I told you it was broken a few days ago. So is this a pullback? You can't really say that. It's a pivot. Because pullbacks are the same as the pivots. Is that clear? If you adjust your trend line here, this is the precise and well adjusted. It overlaps the 38 level. If I draw the Fibonacci, it's on my 38 level. So it's going to come up until that line, right? Yes, until it breaks the 23 level. So we can sell, right? Yes, you can start selling easily because you have the signal there. All right, so Miss Sharifi, how are you? Thank you so much. I'm fine. I haven't seen you in so long. You okay? Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry I had delay. No, I hope you're okay. I wanted to say hi. Is your father doing better? Yeah, thank you. He is doing fine. You see in here. What is your candlestick here? That is your ascending candlestick. So if I start buying, it's because my pivot is right there and the candlestick is below the pivot. And it has opened the body and the shadow. So I can start buying. But if my candlestick was completed in here, you see these are so many pips here. Around 100 pips. So if it was completed in this point, I couldn't have bought. You see, I have put my buy stop above my pivot. If it goes further than the pivot, the buy stop will be activated. Or for example, in here, because this candlestick was completed inside a pivot, the next one is an engulfing candlestick. Is that clear? Excuse me, usually the body they just showed us doesn't have any shadows. Yes, that is possible. It's possible that it doesn't have any shadows at all. But it has to be completed inside the pivot, right? Yes, you see, if the body is longer than the shadow, or sometimes it doesn't even have any shadows, it just has a long body. If it's inside the pivot, if it's completed, I'm putting an emphasis on this. If it's completed inside the pivot, that is an engulfing candlestick. But if it doesn't, it's a continuation candlestick. Excuse me, if it's not completed in a pivot, it's continuation candlestick. So if we want to start buying, we should pay attention to our pivots too, to see if it's worth it or not. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Usually, there are so many pips in this situation because when we have a continuation candlestick, when it's not completed inside the pivot, it means that it's going to continue the movement. So you shouldn't take risks because of just a few pips. But usually there are so many pips and it is worth it. I got it. Mr. Sadari, I put something inside the channel that tomorrow we're going to have a workshop and we're going to work with $500 deposit or more. If you want to, you can attend that workshop. We're only trading. We're not teaching or anything. And any profit that you gain is yours. 5 p.m. through 8 p.m. Yes. And on what platform is the class being held? On Zoom platform. And is it the same link? Yes, it is. And you're there, right? Yes. I'm going to trade. For example, I'm going to take a sell order in USD, JPY, or anything, and you will trade with me. It's like we're all sitting together and trading together. Excuse me, I wanted to ask something else. Okay, so another example. These candlesticks are very important. So whenever you have any questions, please ask. So in here, this candlestick was completed inside a pivot. So it's an engulfing candlestick. But please pay attention. This is a very important point. Engulfing candlestick could be based on one candlestick or based on 2 or 3 candlesticks. Please keep that in mind. Engulfing candlestick could be based on only one candlestick or based on 2 or 3, maximum 3 candlesticks. So when do we have more than one candlesticks? When the market is not very busy. For example, 12:30 a.m. or 12:30 p.m. So you shouldn't trade at all. Well, when do you think it's the best opportunity to trade? It's in the evening. Don't trade in the mornings. In the evening, for example, 4 p.m. is a good time to trade. Or for example, at this time, it could give you a signal. You should look at your market. Because you could get some signals at this time of the day. So it's a very good signal too. We can trade based on them. Excuse me. Can we please look at the pound JPY chart in the 4-hour time frame? It has given us a very good descending signal. Can we please locate the pivots? You can start selling here. You see that? Is it the pound JPY? Yes, it is. Mr. Sadaqi can do this too. I will. You can start selling up until this area. And the daily signal is going to... I don't think it's going to be powerful enough to retrace. So we're probably going to have more decline tomorrow. But please exit on the first pivot. That is our rule. So did you understand the engulfing candlestick? Yes, we did. You see, for example, in here, this candlestick has a longer body comparing to the shadows, but it wasn't completed inside a pivot, so it's a continuation candlestick. This candlestick too was not completed inside a candlestick, so it's a continuation candlestick, and it has gone further than the pivots here. So this is our continuation candlestick. Can you see that? And it has continued the upward movement. This one has been completed inside the pivots, so it is an engulfing candlestick, and it has reached this pivot and it has retraced. So you have to keep this in mind. In the forex market, you can get signals from every single candlestick, but on the circumstances that you know the rules. Sometimes I do scalp trading. You see that I look at every single candlestick. That is because I know these factors and I don't make any mistakes. But you should start trading on longer time frames and then you can do scalp trading. Because in scalping, everything that you need to know is candlesticks, pivots, and market elasticity. And you have to be fearless. The more professional you are in candlesticks and pivots, the better. You shouldn't be stressed out when you're trading. So comparing to the past, I am a lot less stressed out. Yes, that is because in the past you didn't know these strategies. It's like driving. When you want to drive, at the beginning, you don't know what the basic guidelines are. So you will get better in time. It depends on what techniques and strategies you will learn. So I am doing these tradings in the class for you so that you won't be afraid and you can start trading in the real market. If you have stress, you will not be successful. You could start buying, and if it goes up a little bit, you will exit. And then that's a mistake because you will lose. Comply with the rules and you will be successful. Or for example, this candlestick here. It is completed inside a pivot, right? So it's an engulfing candlestick. You see, we have an uptrend, a downtrend here. And the market elasticity is downward too. But you shouldn't start selling here because there's a possibility of retracement here. I have called this 50-50 candlestick because it could still be completed inside the pivot and be engulfing again. So when it goes further than the pivot, that is when you can start selling safely. But a little bit further than that, you again have pivots. So you have to keep in mind this possibility that it's going to be an engulfing candlestick. So if you start selling here, you may lose. So in here you should draw the trend line as well. And you see that it has been broken from the bottom. So this is a descending trend here. But it's not going to be descending forever. It's going to be descending up until a certain point. Can't we, in these situations, find a channel or a wolf technique that has clear tops and bottoms? Or for example, and at the top we get a very clear signal, a long body with small shadows, and then when we see that, we start selling, and at the end we want if we want to do a longer term trade, we can start selling. And for example, if we are in the 4 hour time frame, we move on to the daily time frame. And at the end, if it reaches the end of the channel, and it's okay if it has fluctuations, but at the end of the day, it's going to be descending. And it's okay if it has fluctuations. It's okay if we lose. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. But under circumstances that you know what candlesticks are, you see, the ones that you consider at the walls, you should know that, for example, if it breaks the wall, that gives you a signal. I'm telling you that the trend line only helps you to understand what your trend is. For example, I draw this trend line here like this, and I put this one here. And when I see that this has happened here, I know that I have a descending trend here. But this is a swing high candlestick for me, and it's an ascending candlestick for me. So if you had paid attention, I have started buying in gold chart, and I have put my stop loss on the pivot. So this candlestick is going to come up, and it's going to be completed as an ascending candlestick, and it's going to be a big candlestick too. So imagine it's completed at this point, and it's completed inside a pivot. So that's an engulfing candlestick. So you would think that this trend line has stopped it, but it's not like that. Trend line and Fibonacci are only tools that tell you where your pivots are. They just help you locate your pivots, but your pivots are actually right here. They are the ones that stopped your price. When you have drawn these correctly and you know pivots well, your price reaches the pivots when you have pivots exactly at this angle. Excuse me, is it the 4 hour time frame? Yes, it is. Okay, so can we do this? You see, usually the price reacts more to the major pivots, or the ones that are from the longer time frames. Yes, that is correct. The longer the time frame, the more powerful the pivots. So when that happens, I imagine we start trading on hourly or 4 hour time frame. No, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that at all. If you're analyzing the 4 hour time frame chart, you should not change your time frame. No, this isn't what I mean. You see, for example, in the hourly or daily time frame, if we locate our pivots and we highlight them with a yellow line, and this pivot tool helps us a lot. But if we locate the powerful daily pivots and we highlight them, and also then we move on to the 4 hour time frame and say to ourselves that when the price reaches those pivots, we're going to have reactions. Or the engulfing candlestick is definitely going to happen. The candlesticks that reach these lines. Yes, that is correct. Can we do that? In the daily time frame, you can do that. The thing that you just said, you can do that. Because if you do that, the 4 hour time frame will tell you the exact points. You see, the 4 hour and daily are the same, and hourly and 30 minutes are the same. But the 4 hour and hourly are not the same. Or the hourly or daily, they are not the same. So you cannot keep moving between the two. Or you can, these are pairs. You see, the monthly and weekly is one pair, daily and 4 hour time frame is 1 pair, hourly and 30 minutes is 1 pair, and the last pair is 15 minutes and 5 minutes time frame. So these are all pairs. You shouldn't mix them up together. That is a very common mistake between the traders, but it will just confuse you. In 4 hour time frame you could have an ascending signal, but in the hourly time frame we could have a descending signal. So it will just confuse you. They are different. So excuse me, when we look at the daily time frame, we see a candlestick. And we see that during the day it keeps on getting bigger or smaller. So that is because of the fluctuations, right? The fluctuations that we have in 5 minute or 15 minutes or 30 minutes time frames. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. We have fluctuation in those shorter time frames. That is correct. Another thing you need to pay attention to is that when you're working with candlesticks, if you're on the daily time frame, so the best time to get the signals in the daily time frame is 3:30 a.m. That is the beginning of the candlestick. In the 4 hour time frame, the best time to get the signal is 30 minutes after the 4 hour has begun. So you can look at the market watch here. Please keep that in mind. For example, now I know that 1 hour and 30 minutes has passed from my 4 hour time frame candlestick. If I was working on the daily time frame, if this was about 1:30 in here, it would be probably our 2 or 3 o'clock in Iran. So the best time to get the signal, that is why I am always up at night, because I get the daily confirmation, daily signals at that time. And I will put my take profit there. So when I wake up in the morning, I see that the trade, that my account has been closed. Because when I know that my daily signal, for example, the candlestick that I have here, and when I see that in the day I have a reversal candlestick and I start selling here, I know that today I'm going to have a descending signal. So I don't mind the little fluctuations that happen. I put my take profit in here and I won't touch it anymore. And I put my take profit based on pivots. And I know that the signal is reliable up until the pivot. Candlesticks only tell you when to enter the market, if it's going to go up or it's going to come down. But pivots are the ones that tell you how long it's going to continue its movement. So you should put your take profit and stop loss based on your pivots. So for example, in here, this candlestick here was completed in a pivot and a descending signal. You see, I've had a swing low pivot here. But the next candlestick opened the body and the shadow there. And it has gone further than the pivot. So that is a continuation candlestick when it goes further than the pivot. But if it couldn't go further than the pivot, it would have been an engulfing candlestick. So don't rush into anything. You have to be patient and wait to see if the rules are complied with or not. Then only time will tell that. So you have to wait and see if it goes further than the pivot or not. If it does, you can start selling. But if you just consider if it goes further than the body and the shadow, it may go down a little bit and then retrace again. So is that clear for everyone? Ms. Charifi, do you have any questions? No, I don't have any questions. Mr. Sadek, what about you? I said that last session you told us about swing high and reversal candlestick. Do we have any? No, that was the reversal candlestick, and you have the video. You have to watch it. This is our third candlestick, but it is actually two candlesticks. Is two. It's like you have learned two candlesticks today. So it's your third and fourth candlesticks, 50-50 candlesticks and continuation candlestick. That is great. Thank you. So if it's completed inside the pivot, it's engulfing, and if it's not, it's continuation. Alright, so I will put the video, the recorded version of today's class in the group. Please practice, and we will talk about further candlesticks later. Excuse me, I have a question. Can we move on to the... Okay, so this is pound and ZD. Miss Charifi, these are minor currency pairs. Yes, I know, but I keep on working with these. Can we please move on to the 4-hour time frame? Okay. Okay, so you see we have a descending signal in here, but it's inside the pivot. So you shouldn't make any decisions based on it. No. Yes, that is correct. You shouldn't start selling based on this. If it was completed in here, you could have started buying up until your pivot, but it wouldn't be worth it too. It was a big risk because anything could have happened. Unless it goes further than the pivot. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. That was my question. Mr. Sadari, do you have any questions? No, thank you. So should I send you my username and my password? Yes, you should. Thank you so much. Any questions? I have another question. Excuse me. No, sorry. Sorry, I made a mistake. I don't have any questions. You're welcome. Thank you. Goodbye. I will put the video on the group. Good night. So, excuse me. You said that tomorrow, from 5 to 8, we have a workshop, right? Yes. I will talk about that on the group. Please check the group. I have added you. And there is some other students there. And people ask their questions on that group. What is the name of that group? You're added on that group. I'm not sure what the name was, but you're added on that group. So, are we going to have a workshop tomorrow or not? There's a big possibility that we're going to have that workshop tomorrow, but I will tell you. Check your Telegram, because I'm most of the time on that platform. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good night. Miss Sharifi, good night. Good night.